We could drip drop off the screen. Good morning and welcome back to my show. I'm Swamp Rose, or you can call me Kiki. And today I have Nina Kelly as my guest. Hi, Nina.
Hey,
How's your
I'm
morning?
awake.
It's pretty early where you are right now, right?
9 a.m.
All right. Well, not that bad, I guess. But yeah, we're on East Coast time, so we start a little
Yeah,
bit
I'm
early.
central.
True. But what was wonderful is Nina and I had planned out this show for you folks today. And then Nina made a video last night that's so relevant and so in the moment. And I'm so glad she brought it to my attention. And with that, actually, Nina, do you want to set it up while I pull up the video?
Well, today is Xanapalooza, and today is Xana's birthday. And so, in honor of that, the family put together Xanapalooza, and it's the day for you to do what makes you happy. Because I think the statement that Xana made was to always, do what makes you happy, and live your life to make yourself happy and stuff like that. And I know that everybody has seen in the videos of Xana. Xana was a happy person. I mean, she was herself. She lived life every day to the fullest. And, out of all of them, I can honestly say that, look, this is nothing against any of them. I think they were all beautiful. But I think her spirit and, just the way she carried herself and lived life, she was just a beautiful soul.
Amen. I couldn't agree with you more. And you made a really touching tribute to her, which I'm going to share with you folks now. So before I play this, I just want to say, please give Nina's channel a visit and see the video for yourself and give it a like, and let's kind of kick it in the algorithm so that more people can know about Xanapalooza today. And for the people who did tribute videos, like videos such as Nina, if you go like that video, then those will start being pushed in the algorithm to people. So visit Nina's channel, and it's Nina_Kelly, just like her name right there under her. And let me pull this up. And it's going to take us out of the screen.
I love that this book talks about how to be feminine and why we should embrace our femininity and
Sorry about the added dialogue after. That was so lovely, and I loved the music that you put to the pictures. It was just
Or
so
Kiki.
pretty. Thank you.
There's Kiki.
Oh, can you hear me? Oh gosh.
We can now.
Oh, good. I just, what a beautiful tribute you did, and I loved the music that you put to the photographs. It was beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. So think that's a great way to start out the show, and we have a few different segments for you today, and I'm actually going to just tell you guys what we have planned so far. So I think, since I have Nina here and we just showed one of her videos, which Christy has, my mod has linked in the live chat, so please go visit Nina's channel. We're going to actually show another video from Nina's channel now, and we're going to talk a little bit about the ladder. And it's not a new subject. We've discussed the ladder for a long time now, but we've talked about it in a different context. And so I heard Nina talking about this during a video on Unfiltered Lucky's channel. And then when we were discussing it later, she actually since then has brought a bunch of receipts to what she's saying. And so I was thinking we'd watch the video. I think it's probably like a 4-minute clip where she explains the role of the ladder at the crime scene. And then we're gonna pull up the receipts and we can explain them one by one. I think you probably have about 10 different pictures. And it's a combination of news articles and tweets from family members. Am I correct, Nina? The receipts that you brought? Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right, great. So I think you guys are gonna really enjoy this. And again, the link is posted in the live chat. I hope everyone had a good 4th of July too.
And everybody be nice. This is the first time anything of mine's been played on somebody else's channel.
Oh, my live chat is really nice. And we don't feed.
Oh, I know. I love your chat.
Who is this lady? I've never been recommended her on my
I don't know,
algorithm.
but we have to embrace our femininity.
I totally agree. It's Misty Wickler. Anyway. Misty, I hope you don't hit me for using your content. No intention there. All right, so I made a playlist for today. Let me just pull this up. And this is the video. We're going to start at about a little after 9 seconds because she has 2 different topics in this video. And so this is Nina in action, you guys. I feel like I'm talking like a robot. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Good. Oh my gosh, I'm so slow today.
Had made it to the door, or if that's where they were killed was, and I say the door was locked. And here's the reason why, and I'll tell you that if those floors had been uneven, their blood could have run to the back of that wall and down the side of that house like it did.
And I just, this just brings me to my first point. I'm going to put a banner up, but I should probably say this at the beginning of every episode. If you've just stumbled onto this live stream, as it says in the title, this is a true crime talk show or true crime live stream. So trigger warning, we are talking about sensitive subject matter and a crime scene. Also, everything expressed in these videos is just speculation. And with that said, let's pull up that video and discuss the crime scene.
So instead of running into the hall, it could have run to the back wall, is what I'm trying to say. So if Xana and them couldn't get the door open because it was locked, because it was jammed, there's a reason, and I'm sure we'll find out in court, that Dylan called Hunter to come help him get the door open, okay? So I think that when Hunter couldn't get the door open, this is my take on the ladder, okay? Because that ladder had been laying down in every picture, every video, every body cam. That picture is laying down. That there's something to that ladder standing up at the ledge underneath Xana's window. I believe that when they couldn't get the door open, that Hunter stood the ladder up, went up on the ledge, looked through the window, and screamed, "Call 911." I do know that Ethan's mom thanked Hunter for not allowing his brother and sister to see their brother like that. I know it's been said that he tried to give CPR. So I do know that he eventually got in that room. I don't know if it was through the window. I don't know if it was through the door. I do believe that this is the first time that Dylan or Bethany knew anything of that kind of severity could have been going on. At any time, you do not hyperventilate. You do not pass out. If you've been planning it and cleaning up the blood and hiding the drugs, and you've been taking care of everything for 8 hours, you don't just pass out at that time. You pass out when you find out what happened. So for them to pass out and hyperventilate, to me, that is a reaction to what they saw. It says that the unconscious person is given out to the first responders when they cannot understand the caller. So you've got one passing out, one hyperventilating, And poor Hunter, that probably can't talk because he just found what happened. So, because everything is where they can't understand it, it went out as an unconscious person. Okay? The fourth dead, the fifth one going to the hospital. I believe the ambulance could have been called. I mean, the ambulance could have come because maybe somebody said Dylan passed out. You know, something. I don't know. Who knows? Good. The ambulance came. You know, does that really matter? Does it really change anything? You know, so another thing is when they got there, I don't think anybody's even thought about the third floor yet. You know, they're freaked out over the second floor. So, you know, it talks about, you know, that they found, you know, the second floor, and that would be Ethan and Xana. God love them and rest. That breaks my heart. Um, and then they go upstairs and find Kaylee and Maddie. God love them, breaks my heart, you know. Um, but that is how I believe that the girls are innocent. I think that they honestly thought that it was just a fight that got out of hand, you know, a 10-minute fight, you know. Um, that's just my opinion on it. And I know there's a lot of questions. There's supposed to be a lot of questions. We don't have all the information. I can't add all the numbers up if you don't have all the numbers. And with everything being sealed, we're going to have questions. My take on the ladder. So I guess this video is in a response to Unlucky Filtered. Unfiltered Lucky, I mean. Sorry, y'all. As everybody says, you know, my channel is strictly for entertaining purposes. So there's my entertainment. It's Nina Kelly. Thanks, y'all.
All right. So
our coverage continues now of the arrest and the murder.
Oh, this is one of our videos coming up. All right, Nina. I have a couple of, let me take her down. I have a couple of immediate reactions to you. And it looks like there were also a couple of reactions in the audience. So I wanted to read this one first from False Star. Whenever 911 is called, they don't know what's going on and they send a call out for an unconscious person. And we did hear that from News Nation too. They reported that. And then Sergeant Friday says, it was stood up by Ellie in the crime scene so tape could be tied to it. I surmise this because Ellie said he could see into the bedroom when he entered the hallway. Cops discovered the third floor as stated by, and I think he was going to say PCA. But anyway, before I say anything, Nita, did you want to add anything to that video we just watched?
Well, I mean, you know, just, well, number one is, you know, like you said about the warning and stuff like that. Another thing is when I'm on your panel, you know, I always put up a warning label because you don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. So okay. I do not ever hold anyone responsible for my mouth that I'm on a panel of. But when I'm on yours, I do really try hard. So, you know, I mean, as far as the ladder and everything, you know, anything is just, it's everyone's speculation. You know, nobody knows because we don't have any information. You know, I mean, and so that's what I try to tell everyone is anything that any of us say is strictly from research we do, or puzzles we put together, or pieces we put together. And what we come up with is our own theory. And, you know, it doesn't mean that's the way it happened. It doesn't mean, you know, it's just a theory.
Absolutely. And what's interesting about this video is, unless I'm mistaken, it came out before Bloom's book. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. This was one of my first videos. I think it's like maybe my third video. And what it is I was trying to do a response video to Unfiltered Lucky. And because he made a video and he was wanting to know people's take on what they thought about the ladder. And with me being so new to all this, I do not know how to do anything. And so that was the only way I knew to do a response video. You know, I can't do it like y'all do, where you put up all the stuff and you can respond to it right then and there. But I'll learn. But yeah, it was in a response. So it's been when I first started a couple of months ago.
Yeah, well, it's just interesting that you give this account, you start talking about the 911 call, and you kind of, so News Nation has gone a step further since that video was produced, and it backs up kind of what you're saying. This part of Bloom's book, I don't see how it could have been given except from a reliable source. It's just too detailed. But I don't know if you read it, but basically the 911 operator, there's being a lot of blame put on her. So Bloom says she both did the right thing in the book. She used the standard language, like you said, and it was suggested language. But the problem is because she didn't express everything that was on that phone call. A forensic team wasn't dispatched simultaneously along with the 911 unconscious person call. And that did cause some problems. And I think the book took it a little bit too far, in my opinion, because it sort of blames a lot of the confusion overall in the case with that 911 call. And I don't think that that's the case. I think it's the nature of the crime.
See, I sort of disagree with that, because I think in two of the receipts that I sent you, it is one of them is the you know how Moscow puts out the little snippets of the dispatch calls?
Yes.
The snippet, it comes out as a homicide and says that coroner was dispatched, everything.
All right, let me pull up your receipts. Oh my gosh, this is going to be hard to do, but I can do it. Just have faith in you guys. Hold on, because I am trying to. Well, I don't need to tell you my life story. Just give me a second here. Some of these receipts, you guys, I have to say too, I've been covering this case for a long time. Some of these receipts I hadn't seen before. I've heard about them, particularly that and some of these receipts I've only heard in obscure places like Reddit threads and the UK Mirror. So anyway, I want to say they're really good. All right, let's see. Share screen. Here we go. All right, so this first one, this is, why can't I see this? I'm not sure where this one comes from. Can you see it, or do you want me to read it out loud, Nina? It's the one.
You can go ahead, because my eyes I got old lady eyes.
Well, okay. Well, it's not you. It's the screen. We're going to first see that. The second is, I don't know what the source of this is. So you'll have to tell me. I think it's ABC News, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me read this to you folks. Oh gosh, what did I do again? Hold on.
And see, a lot of my screenshots was just from doing research. So I would do screenshots for me to have something to go back to. I never thought I would have a channel that I would need to say, this is from, this source or something, And so a lot of my screenshots are just my screenshots. But then when I went back to get them, because I never knew that they scrub stuff and stuff like that during an investigation. And when I would go back to get stuff, I'm like, it's gone. And then I learned from all y'all that, yeah, it could be gone.
Yeah. What I learned from Jeff that's helpful is that metadata on the screenshot or the picture you download can help you trace it back.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't realize that. You just kind of lift up on the on my iPhone, I just lift up on the picture and it gives like the metadata. Thanks.
Well,
Jeff.
so now when I do screenshots, I make sure that I have at the top, exactly where it comes from and stuff like that.
Oh, we got some. comments here. I'm going to read this in a second. Hold on, where was it? Let's see now. Christy says, I seen where the 911 operator was under investigation because of that call. She didn't react like she should. It sounds like it, but then there's the book. Okay, so the book is really interesting because it'll get you going on one point, and then the next point will be the counter argument, but it sounds contradictory. So yes, they did put blame on this operator and said a lot of things. And then literally the next paragraph, it was like she followed standard operating procedure though, and she used the general code. So I don't know, but what would be kind of cool is if on this one subject, which we, we'll bring out what receipts we have, but it might even be warrant an entire segment just talking about the 911 operator. And then next, Jeff says this about the ladder, which I just wanted to share. Makes me wonder if the crime scene tape was sliding down at the corner till they put the tape around the upright ladder. And then Christy says, trigger warning, Nina's talking.
No, it's true. It's true. She says just joking, but it's true.
And I like this, which is, I should probably change the banner. Remember, it's speculation, just our own opinions. We agree to disagree respectfully, 100%. Let me put that opinion banner back up. And then we'll get going on this. And
see, I don't understand how anybody can say that she didn't respond correctly, because also in my receipts is a statement from the 911 that says that it is protocol that it is handled this way.
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that they said that if it's known that it might be a homicide scene, forensic needs to be dispatched. A forensic unit needs to be dispatched simultaneously. So I don't know, Nina. It's either one or the other. Somebody's not telling us exactly what's in that standard protocol. But let's get through the receipts, because you bring up the receipt in her defense, which is the most important thing right now, is to bring up what we have and then add to it, when we can. Okay, and how did I do this again? Hold on. Let me read this to you. According to Stacy Chapin, during her and Jim's November 17th extended interview, BF told Ethan's triplets that she heard through the night. Let me say that again. She told Ethan's triplets that she heard through the night what she heard through the night. She told the triplets she heard loud male voices, Ethan yelling, and the other male voices she believed were guys in the fraternity. So she heard more than one perpetrator and Ethan yelling loud. Did DM didn't? It says, yet DM didn't. BF also heard furniture getting, and this is in quotes, furniture getting knocked around, rummaging through the second floor, Murphy barking, and then a loud thud. Multiple past tenants who have had rooms on the first floor said it was very hard to hear anything above, which makes sense when you look where Ty Addons, I don't know how to say that, when you look at where Ty Add-on was, whatever that means. But BF to have heard Ethan and other guys yelling loudly, it would have been impossible for DM on the same floor and those guys not to hear it. BF genuinely thought what she was hearing was a continuation of a frat party fight that she also witnessed. She observed the very heated and aggressive fight with E and X Xana had with a certain David of the Davids. In fact, the frat fight was getting so bad that X pulled E away and got him out of there. This same David is seen in his big white truck slowly passing K&M and JS in the CCTV clip of them walking from the corner club to the grub truck. It is true that Adam and JD were picked up at the club as soon as the girls left, and they were picked up by the Davids, or they're asking, is it true? Does the CC not have security videos that can see who leaves and what time and outside surveillance watching the vehicles? Was JS staying near the girls so he could give them updates of when they left the Davids, JD, and Adam? That's a pretty intense. That's from that doesn't sound like ABC News. What is?
I think that they are actually covering what someone posted. You know what I'm saying? I think the story is about this post. I don't think that they wrote it. I think they're doing a story on this post. Does that make sense?
Yeah. We'll get more information on that. We'll look into this clip. This is pretty amazing. I would love to know a little bit more about the screenshot. Let's get to the next one here. Oh gosh, now I can't. I need a producer. How do I do this? I guess I have to pull them up one by one. Okay, and this is a continuation of what we were just reading. Window, here we go. Can you see that, Nina? I can't see the screen.
Yeah. Now, this is a post that a person posted. It's a two-parter. And the reason that I sent these is not necessarily for some of the subject in here, but is to back up that there are other people hunting the November 7th interview where Stacey Chapin makes all the statements that she made.
Okay.
Because, when it's easy for somebody to come on here and say something and say, oh, but it's been scrubbed. You know what I'm saying? So the reason I sent these to you was to show that there are other people hunting the same thing and talking about the November 17th interview.
Yeah.
And how it's been scrubbed and it's been edited and cut.
Do you know where you got this screenshot, Nina?
Yes, I do, but it was off of another creator's Discord.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested. Again, I mean, it brings validation that other people were talking about it. So we won't read this whole one, but when I read this first sentence, it reminded me of something. I'm going a slightly off topic, but I'll just promote this other channel for a second because I saw something really, really interesting. And so interesting, I reached out to the other creator and she hasn't gotten back to me yet. But if you go to Forensic Frenzy's channel, she has her own sources that she has dug out for the Idaho 4. And she gives the most fascinating interpretation of what Dylan says in that PCA. She paints the picture like this. And again, it's Forensic Frenzy, so please go visit her channel. I'm taking no credit for this theory. She basically says it's like when Dylan yells out, "Shut the F up," she's actually not, she's lying in her bed and she's yelling it above her. And the only thing that Kaylee could get out was, "There's someone here." And then the next thing that was said was the killer saying, "It's okay, I'm here to help." And that's the context of those yells. It was 3 yells in a row. "Shut the F up. There's someone here. It's okay, I'm here to help." And it like chills me just to even think that that's the way it happened. But I don't know. I'm just, again, all opinionation and opinionization, and that comes from an anonymous source, just like all of everything in this case. So,
But see, the STFU is actually in the statement that has been scrubbed from Stacey Chapin.
The what?
The STFU.
Oh,
yeah. That is actually in the statement that's been scrubbed from that interview. And this is the reason that all this sticks out in my mind is I didn't start this until January. And my daughter has been following this case, probably ever since it happened. And she, she'll come to me and say, "Do you believe blah, blah, blah?" And this was before I started all this. And so as I'm, going through, this was like January, the last of January, I'm going through and watching interviews and stuff like that, trying to catch up on everything, And I watched the interview and Stacey Chapin says, blah, 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 blah. And I go running into my daughter's room and I'm like, "Tamla, did you know blah, 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 blah?" And she said, "What are you talking about?" And I said, I just watched this interview and Ethan's mama, and this is it. I mean, I can remember it. So I went to my daughter and I said, do you remember? And she said, yeah, I remember that. And that's the reason that that interview stuck out so much in my head was as soon as I heard it, it was like it put everything together, you know, because she says that Bethany went to the bottom of the stairs and shouted for them to shut up, and that she saw what she thought was a frat brother. Okay. And that's the reason that she thought that it was the frat fight, and that's what they're considering the exculpatory evidence is, because if she's just yelling upstairs thinking the frat brothers are fighting with Ethan, then that would be exculpatory evidence for Brian Koberger.
Yeah.
She didn't call 911 because it's not an intruder. She didn't call 911 because it's not a stranger. You see what I'm saying? And so, that's what, to me, that's the reason that they used Dylan's instead of Bethany's, is because Bethany's would be exculpatory.
Yeah. And we don't really know the whole story because we have somebody paraphrasing and cherry picking it for the PCA.
Right.
Oh, speaking of the PCA, I heard you say something in a live the other night, and I wanted to clarify it with you, but I keep forgetting. And why don't we just do it here at the live? You said something interesting, and I might have heard it wrong, but it's regarding the PCA, and I'll get to this comment by Heather in a second. But you said something about the PCA is just part of the PCA. It's Exhibit A.
The PCA is sealed. We have Exhibit A from Brett Payne.
So we're not reading the whole PCA?
Right.
I never heard that before.
I have receipts on that.
You do? That's really cool. I mean, really cool to know. Like, I feel like it puts me in a better place of understanding to know that that's just Exhibit A of the PCA.
See, I scream that in comments. I scream it everywhere when everybody's talking. I'm like, y'all don't understand. The PCA is sealed. We don't know what we have. I mean, we have what they gave us, which is Exhibit A.
Can you explain your receipts? I mean, we don't have to bring them up, but just explain where you came to that conclusion. Just because I don't have a place of knowledge on that, I just want you to explain to me how you came to understand that about the PCA, because I want to, like I said, I want to be armed with information. I want to know the best.
Because, oh my gosh, I read, like, when I do my research, I mean, Heather's here. Heather says that she and I are like IgG research twins or something, because when I do it, I it's like if I see something that I'll go to that. I mean, that's how my rabbit holes are like so big, because if I see something, and so one time in one of the court papers, and I've got it highlighted. I actually sent them to you. I've got it highlighted where it states that the PCA, the search warrants, it states everything that is sealed in the case. And I'm sitting there and I'm reading, and I'm like, PCA? What's that mean the PCA is sealed? And so, of course, my research went into, is the PCA sealed? And that's where I found some of my receipts of people asking the same question and people coming back and saying, yes, it's sealed and stuff like that. Now, I don't consider that receipts, okay? I mean, because anybody can say it, but when it is in the documents that the PCA is sealed, the search warrants are sealed, blah, blah, blah is sealed, to me, that, pretty much says it's sealed, And then when you look at it, it says Exhibit A. It does not say probable cause affidavit. It says Exhibit A. What is it? When you have an Exhibit A, is that not like evidence or, a statement of, it's just a statement of what he saw when he went in there.
I guess the only thing, like, so when your receipts are basically other people's opinions. So I'm trying to think of questions.
No, I sent you the court documents and highlighted in the court documents, the Koberger court documents. I didn't send them last night. I sent them on your Discord about 2 months ago.
Interesting.
And yeah, I mean, it's the actual court documents. And, you know, a lot of people, when they read the court documents, they read like the guts of it. You know what I'm saying? You know, you go in there and you read what it's about, you know, and you sort of just scan over, okay, this is sealed because we know everything is sealed, you know.
Yeah, and you know, here Sergeant Friday brings up all the autopsies are sealed.
Yeah, I mean, everything. I mean, the only thing we have is Exhibit A. And if you look at the PCA, it says Exhibit A, not probable cause affidavit.
And 12 says the only thing that would be different is the redacted portion of the PCA. So not entire chunks of it are left out. Just
How do we know that?
yeah. 12.
Gage, I love you. I didn't want to come off as being smart alecky or anything.
No, I love the energy you're bringing to the live stream today. Don't worry about anything. And this is 12's wheelhouse, so he would.
I mean, my thing is everybody talks about there's no evidence, there's no this, there's no that, there's no this, there's no that. How do we know that? Okay, like I know that they took his brake pedal, they took his gas pedal, they took the panel of his car, the seatbelt fastener, and everybody says there's no DNA in the car. How do we know that? The results from the search warrant sealed. They could have found a drop of blood somewhere. The results are sealed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only reason people think that is because when you hear people fighting so hard for something like the IgG to be thrown out, they're like, well, why would you fight so hard if there's more solid DNA evidence found after the fact? That's the only counter argument I've heard about people is, okay, well, why would they be fighting so hard about this little DNA evidence of other evidence? And why would also AT say, I don't know why I call her AT, why Ann Taylor would say there's no connection between the two if there was DNA connection in that car or in the apartment or in the, I'm just putting it out there.
No, I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you know, I don't want all of us to have the same opinions and the same thoughts. How boring would that be?
Yeah, we wouldn't have a show.
Exactly. I mean, you know, now do I want everybody fighting and cussing and everything? No, you know, but if we can sit up here and we can talk about it and we can debate it, it doesn't offend me when somebody puts a comment that says you're crazy or something, because I probably am, you know. I mean, no, that's the reason that I said that, Gage, was I didn't want you to think that I was coming off as smart alecky or anything.
12 has a thick skin. He doesn't care. Don't worry. But yeah, 12 says, I'm not saying you're wrong, but we got the PCA. So if they sealed another portion, it would be, that part would be redacted. I wonder what Sarge just brought up. And just so I understand, so the IgG, there is part of the IgG in there, because I actually was going to talk about page 15. Oh no, I'm thinking of the search warrant. Yeah, because the IgG is in the search warrant, not the PCA. So if Sargent said that the autopsy reports and the IgG report were redacted from the PCA, or were sealed from the PCA, but 12 saying that it wouldn't be a part taken out, it'd just be blacked out, like you see in a confidential document. I guess that's the question. Do portions get taken out, or as 12 says, it's just blacked out where they are? And I mean, I don't know, maybe 12 knows and he's answering the question because he is a criminal justice major. So I don't know. And hi, Pebbles. She has a comment. Hold on. We'll get to that one in a second. No DNA. Sergeant says no DNA in car, home, workplace, apartment. Pebble says, deductive reasoning along with statements made by both sides during the hearings tell us a lot, in my opinion. And Jeff says, on the Idaho website, with all the court docs, Exhibit A Payne doc is only listed as 12/29/2022 affidavit. I'm not seeing other PCAs on the site in other cases that say Exhibit A at the top. Yeah, Nina, you've got an excellent point. We've all read that and been like, okay, Exhibit A. But somebody actually thought about it.
I mean, have you gone to other? I mean, I know you have because you're true crime, but think about other PCAs that you have read. Think about the heading of the PCA and stuff like that. It lets you know that that's the probable cause affidavit.
Not the Exhibit A.
Right.
Wow, we've like gone down a total rabbit hole in the middle of our ladder receipts, haven't we? But I heard you say it the other night, and it just I was like, what is she talking about? I got to know more about that, and just a chance to bring it up now. Here, let me bring up your next receipt, and because I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. It looks like an arrest or something. Hold on, let me share my screen. I can't believe we're almost an hour into this, and I have like 5 other segments. So I told my husband, I'm like, I think this is going to be a long live stream. Oh, I didn't pull it up.
See, I think that this is actually, and I mean, another creator. With all the research I was doing, I stayed with one creator because I was new to this, and everything I found, I sent to this creator, and I mean, he always shouted me out. He always, and so we were talking one night and I was like, I've got like 9,000 pieces of stuff that, for Idaho 4. And he was like, you really should do your own channel. He said, if you put that much hard work in,
right,
instead of giving it to me, you should do your own channel, And I thought about it and I was like, so really, I mean, I can back up what I say and stuff like that. So that's when I decided to sort of delve into the waters and,
Okay, stop talking before Mikey and Heather start their own channels, okay? I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. This is true, though.
Mikey, don't listen to her. All right. No, I'm just joking. For all the people that help me and give me leads, you all should have your own channels because it's coming straight from you and your hard work. And I'm only saying that in jest. Like, I'm grateful for everyone who shares stuff with me. It's wonderful. And here we go. Can you see that, Nina? Because I can't see the StreamYard.
That's it. See, okay, they put out this is little snippets for every dispatch that goes through Moscow Police Department. Okay. And it says in the 1100 block King Road at 11:56 a.m. But it says EMS responded, coroner and detectives notified, and it says homicide. So when they were dispatched, they knew it was a homicide.
So she did put it in. Okay.
Yes.
So they should have sent a forensic unit with that. So this is the actual. This is the actual 911 report that's like in the.
Yes. This is off of Moscow Police Department. And if you will notice the 22M09903.
Yeah.
Before Brian Koberger got arrested and he got his actual case number, anything that pertained to this had 22-M09903.
Okay. Oh, that's a good little piece of insight for anyone who's doing their own digging and research.
You can research that number and you can go down some rabbit holes.
And you know what, Heather, I'm oh, whoa, this is a 46-page document. Dang, hold on. Is this a screenshot? Yes, it's a screenshot. Hold on, let me send this to myself, you guys, because Heather gave me a screenshot. I just want to add to the conversation. Here, while I'm doing that, let me pull up your next receipt, Nina, so you can keep explaining this to us. Oh, yeah, this one. Okay. I might need to read this one out loud, but let me pull it up so that the audience can see. Um, all right, Nina, can you see that? I'll read this to you guys. It says, oh, wait, can you see that, Nina?
I can't read it, but I know what it is, and that's their protocol for unconscious person.
I'm going to read this out loud to you guys. This is really interesting. If I can figure out how to find it. Hold on. All right. Civilian employees at Whitcomb 911, an agency in Pullman, Washington, handle 911 calls to the Moscow Police Department, as well as several other agencies, according to the report. The agency is severely understaffed to such an extent that the dispatcher's guide has previously warned that our ability to uphold public safety is at risk. Under standard protocol, when callers are agitated, the dispatcher will often assign the call with a generic label of unconscious person rather than waste valuable time and resources trying to gather specific details. In this case, it is possible that the dispatcher assigned a generic label while speaking to the students who were panicked by what they saw and were passing the phone from one to another. The explanation comes as many questions remain unanswered with the case that has sent shockwaves to the small college town in Moscow, close to the Washington state border. Suspect quadruple killer Brian Kohlberger. So very interesting, Nina.
And see, the thing about it is when he talks about understaffed, that's really an understatement because, of course, I had to go and research being understaffed. I mean, this place is in such turmoil that, like, they had the director quit, so they had another director come in, and I don't think she lasted but like 45 days, and she was like, "I'm done." I mean, they're like trying to dispatch from their homes and stuff.
Why are they dispatching from their homes?
Because they're so understaffed that they need somebody right then, and not take the time to get ready and come in and blah blah blah. It's just get on your computer and dispatch. I mean, because I forget the numbers and everything. I've got it in my receipt book. You don't want to see my receipt book, but I mean, it takes me 2 days to find something.
I might want to see your receipt book, actually.
Look, y'all, my phone used to be my grandkids and my dogs. It's Idaho 4 now. I mean,
yeah, that happened to me too. I'm pulling up. Heather sent us. Oh, why didn't that download? Come on.
and I mean, that's like the 166 page drop of the Don Daniels fiasco. Heck, who's going to read 166 pages? I did.
While I am downloading this photo that Heather just sent me of the PCA, Nina, do you see, because I can't see anything, I'm not even looking at StreamYard. Can you see that receipt that I had brought up?
Yes, this is going to be that. This is just a screenshot that's talking about the Stacy Chapin, that Stacy, it's just another way of saying that other people are looking for what I'm looking for.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, because I can't read it.
I don't even know where I am on my computer right now, you guys. Just bear with me. Okay, there we go. I found you. Okay. So let me stop sharing that. I have the next one right here. And we might read this one out loud because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this has Ethan's sister-in-law, who was very vocal and was like one of the first verified sources that I could hear some raw, unpolished feelings from that part of the victims, that group of victims. Am I sharing that? Can you see it? Okay, so this says, can you see that, Nina? Oh wait, is this Xana's?
Yes, this is Yeah, this is a Facebook post from Xana's aunt.
Oh,
And look, I mean, I'll tell anybody, like I said, I started in January of this year. So if anything, and I try to tell this on anything that I present, because since then, anything could have been debunked, anything could have been proven this or proven that, so if anybody, because someone did tell me the other day that wasn't very nice from my unfiltered lucky collaboration, that this had been debunked and a few other words to me. So I didn't know to take that to heart or not.
oh
But
well,
it is a legitimate Facebook post.
it is. I've seen it before. In fact, I've known about it for a long time. I forgot that Xana's aunt left a post like this as well. But I've seen quite a few from the Chapin side too. Ethan's sister.
But you can tell I sent this one to you because you're up there in the corner.
I know, I saw that. I'm like, oh, I guess you were watching my live stream. Let me look. Am I with Robert in that Yep.
Yes.
Here, let me read this one out loud to you guys if I can find it. It says, the first one says, I'm still wondering if it wasn't his intent to to SA Maddie at knife point. Kaylee surprised and interrupted them, which enraged him. So he attacked her very violently, which was heard by Ethan and Xana. And then he was forced to silence them to get out as fast as he could. And then the answer to this is no, Xana was attacked first. And then the same person further said, why do you think Xana was killed first? Of course it's possible. Ellie hasn't told the public the order in which the kids were killed, but it's possible. I'm curious because it's very rare to hear people say that Xana was first. So I am not quite understanding it. Is this because my face is covering up the top profile?
Yes. Okay. There is a number 2 part to this that your face is not in it. And so it will show you exactly what you can't see on that.
Oh, I've got it right
and
here.
the number 2 part, the first sentence is what struck me.
All right, let's get that. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Yes.
Oh, no. Well, I guess you're in both of them.
That's not it.
Does it say L.E. told the family?
It says no, but this is, hold on. This is from the same person in the same thread. Let's put that one down, and I'm going to just erase the one that I'm on, and let me pull my files back up. Oops. And go to your zip drive. Just walking everybody through my moments here. And let's see, that's not it. Let's go to 49. Yeah, this is one Ellie said. This is the one.
This is it.
All right, I think this, oh, come on, buddy. Is this the one?
Nope.
Oh,
that's a statement from somebody that's actually hunting the Stacy Chapin, and she talks about it being scrubbed.
That's not it. Hold on. None of these say L.E. said. I might not have. I'm at the last one. I'm going to show you everything I have. So after this one, I had, so guys, just bear with us. We have just so many receipts, and we're going to go over all of them. We just want to make sure we're reading this in order. So I'll show you what I have. What is the next statement you're looking up, just so I can read it first and make sure I have it? Or maybe you could just paraphrase it. You said that the aunt said, Ellie said in the next statement. Here, I'm going to pull up the next slide. The next slide that I saw that was. Come on. This was the next one that I saw that was in that chain. Let me just add this. It says, she's my niece. They have told the family. And she said, really, I'm so sorry for your loss, your niece and heart. You and your family are in my thoughts and prayers. Thank you for sharing, because I never heard this before. So they really ran into Xana first, then broke into the home, and then continued to M and K's room. And then the aunt writes, yes. And Natalie writes, thanks for sharing. So, I mean, that just stops me for a second, because that's right from her aunt. But we just read in that Bloom book that he surmised, and he's been researching this since like the first week, that Maddie was killed first.
Yeah. See, me, I mean, I believe Xana was the target, and I believe Xana was attacked first. And I think that the door shut behind Xana and them, and it automatically locked. He goes upstairs and does the evil upstairs. And as he's coming back downstairs and everything, he hears the whimpering. Okay. And when he hears the whimpering, he goes back in there and says, I'm here to help you, sort of giving her like that false hope that he's going to help her. And then does the unthinkable.
This is one thing, and I'd love to know your thoughts on this, Nina. I'm going to bring up this comment from Jeff. Xana's 412 TikTok comment to an old friend's TikTok post, to me, seems to solidify Xana's last sign of life. So if we think about this, if Xana was second, or Xana was first, it really narrows that window. Do you see what I'm saying? Because if he was out of there by 419 and Xana was still awake texting on TikTok at 412, that narrows the window if Xana was first to 7 minutes.
7 minutes is long enough.
There you go. There you go. I was just saying that. So just so everyone knows the other part of that, the PCA states now that the crime took place between 404, 405. And so that's where that's where people already have issue with the time frame now. But like Nina said, it is long enough. And I think other creators have actually done experiments to see,
Right.
and they have proven 2 minutes is more than enough in one of those rooms, and it's scary to think. But with that said, it does kind of throw off the timeline if Xana's first and she was TikToking at 412. Anyway, but it's so also fascinating. I'm so glad you're bringing up all these questions that we really haven't discussed before on this show. I think this is funny. I know this is off subject, but Mike wrote, and Mike writes, TMZ covered the Idaho for hardly the 30-mile zone. So I don't know if you, for those who don't watch TMZ or know that TMZ stands for the 30-mile zone. So they're supposed to be covering celebrities. And the whole point of TMZ is that if you don't want to be caught by the paparazzi, just move out of the TMZ. It's well known. If you want to get photographed, live in the TMZ. But so people live in there and they're like, why are you taking my picture? And it's well, you live in the freaking TMZ. But why are they covering something in Idaho? It's their name of their show is TMZ. Good point, Mike. Clearly he watches pop culture like me.
Okay, I have talking about the PCA. I found a post from, can I say another creator's name? from another creator.
No, you can say
And-
anything.
Oh, okay. Jay is for Justice actually put out a post, and she actually asked, "Is the PCA sealed?" And so I went down through there and got the comments, of people talking about the PCA actually being sealed.
Jay is for Justice is talking about this.
Yes.
She's good at digging. I'm sure she has some really good. I'll have to check that out. So if you guys want to know more about that, there, right there, there's somebody who's a larger creator who's done a lot of work on that.
And one of them comes. I mean, there's several of them that come back, but the first one I found, it says, "Yes, the PCA is sealed. The public statements are exhibits."
Interesting. Okay, that's great. We'll have to. We're gonna do more on this subject. Maybe even higher subs. And I think it's warrants a segment to just talk about, is the PCA, what exactly is in the PCA or not in the PCA? Is it the whole exhibit? Is it just exhibit A and there's like B, C, D, F?
Right.
Jeff says, the order of Dylan's statement puts third floor first, and Dylan seeing the killer leave suggested the killer came from Xana's room, making his face visible and lit by the good vibes sign.
I totally agree with that.
I'm just going to say something. I have to clean up dog hair every single day. It is crazy. So thank you for recognizing my clean floors. They might not even be as clean as they look.
Honey, let me tell you, I sweep up a chihuahua every day.
Chihuahua.
I'm talking, that's how much hair. It's the size of a chihuahua.
If I had a vacuum with vacuum bags, I'd like literally have to buy stock in the company. I have to.
Oh, if we had to vacuum with vacuum bags, we would change vacuum bags every day from dog hair.
It's crazy. Like I have to empty that thing like, I don't know, 3 times when I'm vacuuming. So like,
well, one of our dogs is a Great Pyrenees Husky.
Manger shedder.
So, oh my gosh.
And
but she's huge.
When it gets like really hot or really cold, that's what triggers like the coat change. So it's really hot, and well, not today. I'm obviously wearing a jacket, but so that they all started shedding right now too. Anyway, you guys don't need to hear about that, I'm sure.
Is it double coated where they have like that double something? My daughter, Dabby, the Great Pyrenees Husky, she was like, well, Mama, she's like double coated, I don't know. I'm speaking out of my.
There is 2 different kinds of hair. There's like the awful, like coarse hair, and then there's like the fine undercoat. And I have a special freaking brush for each. It's so hard. And even when you try keeping up with brushing, it doesn't really help. It gets everywhere. It's an accessory in a condiment. I'm just looking if there are any more questions. Her door opens in such a way that it would obstruct her view to the staircase unless she went out into the hallway to look around the corner in the door. Okay. Oh, hi, Miss Anonymous. Jeff says, German Shepherds shed their undercoat twice, once in the spring and once in the autumn during this time.
Maybe that's what someone's talking about is Dabby sheds twice then.
That's probably it. I'm going to move on to our next segment, I think, because we have a lot to get to. I really appreciate this whole ladder segment. We talk about the ladder, but we haven't looked at it in the context of reports that that's what Hunter looked to look through the window. And so anyway, I appreciate you bringing the story to us.
Well, just for anybody out there, if you do have the extended version of November 17th, and it is Stacy Chapin and her husband, they're sitting in front of the bookcase, And the interview is actually with the girl that looks like Kaylee. I think she's a local reporter there, and she resembles Kaylee a lot. And what's on there now is like 10 minutes and 21 seconds. So if somebody's got one that's like 14 or 15 minutes, please watch it because that's going to be the extended.
Okay. Pause this. All right, so let me bring down this comment from Jeff that has nothing to do. Okay, so I am hoping for a little vindication in these next two segments, and I want to talk about two things on my channel. So I made 2 videos members only recently, and I know I don't have members, but hopefully next week I'll have members and you can see them. But they were kind of responses to Howard Bloom's book. And I did get pushback because people were saying, why are you promoting that book? I obviously know the problems with some of the parts of the book and some of the sourcing, but in general, I want to know more, particularly about claims that he made. And I've actually been able to bring some receipts to the table for some of his stories. And the first one that I think you guys are going to really appreciate, and you're going to just maybe, if you haven't seen it before, it does validate one story we read, or it sort of validates it anyway. But I'm going to play you a short video. This is a 4-minute video. I made it for my channel. I made it private because people were telling me I was promoting Howard Bloom's book, and I just didn't want the negative comments. But I'm going to play you the video, and then I'm going to bring you the receipts. And I'll give you a little taste of my receipts before I play the video, just to get you guys kind of hooked on what I'm about to show you. Let me share this with you. This is a, what do you call it? A flight plan, or it's not a flight record from the night of BK's arrest. I don't know why it's not working. That's why. So when, well,
Okay.
So that first and foremost, right there, even me, who is kind of making fun of Howard Bloom for bringing up the Cessna 182, I've dug into this. Mikey sent me this video, and he was like, you know, there is some evidence of the spy plane, and these are what, you know, he showed me this receipt, and I just started digging it, and I found some more stuff I want to show you. First, let me play you the clip of me because it explains what is said in the book. So, did you know that a Cessna 182 single-engine airplane was following BK and his father all the way from Pullman, Washington to the Poconos? Hi, I'm Swamp Rose, and this is a true crime video discussing the case against Brian Kohlberger. This is a good time to tell you that everything I say is just speculation and opinion, and so I encourage you to do your own research, to inform yourself and form your own opinions. So we are discussing adult content in true crime, so viewer discretion is advised. So let's get right into today's story, which is the FBI and their surveillance of Brian Kohlberger and Michael Kohlberger. So I feel that the new book released by Howard Bloom actually gives us some insight that we hadn't had before. That is, if it's true. All right, so to begin, if what Howard Bloom is reporting on is correct, if Howard Bloom's sources are accurate, then we now know how the Pullman police found Brian Kohlberger. So I'll just start from the beginning. Basically, it started when the FBI got the IgG match to Brian Kohlberger's family tree, and they decided to hold on to that information. So apparently they found out about that on December 12th, and they started surveying him then. So Howard Bloom surmised that the reason they may have done this was either they wanted to save the glory of, arresting BK for themselves, or maybe they wanted to just build a case from the bottom up. Either way, he believes those were the two reasons why they didn't tell MPD. Now, when the FBI was trailing BK, apparently, according to Howard Bloom, a Cessna 182 single-engine plane was following them as well. And they referenced it twice. So during Brian's trip back to the Poconos, there were 2 traffic stops. Now, Howard Bloom categorizes these as drug interdiction stops. So basically, they were stopping to see if they could find cash or drugs in an out-of-state car. And what is said is that not only did Brian's father, who apparently told his personal feelings and thoughts to someone close to the family who told Howard Bloom, but apparently Michael Kohlberger, according to Howard Bloom, thought their luck had run out and that his son was about to get arrested. So basically, Howard Bloom says that once these 2 drug interdiction stops happened, the FBI thought that it was over. They thought that these drug interdiction teams were on to what the FBI was doing, and they were going to make the arrest of BK themselves. But nonetheless, it didn't happen, and BK was able to return back to the Poconos. So another thing that was cleared up is we're told in this book that right before those drug interdiction stops, that's when there was an alert sent out about the incident involving Kopaka. And that's when his father brings it up to the trooper. During this trip, it is said that Michael Kohlberger referred to his son as Dr. Brian Christopher Kohlberger. It also was said during this chapter that his aunt attended WASU. So once the vehicle came into the Poconos, some of these FBI agents thought to themselves, oh my God, what have we done? Have we just let a killer into our midst? So the FBI waited for the right time so they could go collect the DNA. And when they finally collected the DNA, which they did make the match to Michael Kohlberger, apparently they said they forgot the replacement bag. So they were all very nervous that Brian was going to come back out, and they had no replacement bag, but obviously it was a non-issue. And another thing that I thought was really weird is that when the police came to BK's property, they didn't know how to get through the gated community. So like the whole SWAT team is outside of this gated community just waiting to be punched in. I thought that was funny. So when Howard Bloom talks about his sources, he says that they are shared with family and passed on to friends according to the account. So that's how we know what Michael said. Some of the things that were also noted during this trip is when they found out about the alert from Kopaka, Brian's father had an interesting quote where he said, "What is wrong with people out there in the Northwest? Another dead." Anyway, I'd love to know what you think. Do you think that this Cessna 182 is just something made to make the story look better? Does the FBI really trail people with those airplanes? I would think they could do it with satellite, but what do I know? Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Hi, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Swamp Rose. Oh, I'm going to play it out. I'm trying to stop this. Hold on. Okay. Let me take that down. All right. So there we go. That's the whole context of the Cessna 182 in Howard Bloom's book. And I thought it was kind of silly. Obviously, I was kind of making that video tongue in cheek, but at the same time, why would he put that in there? It was kind of in that first chapter. They circled back to the subject later on in like chapter 33 or something, but it was in that first chapter. And there was some talk that in that first chapter, it was supposed to be somewhat embellishing or storytelling. But anyway, I kind of thought, you know, okay, it can't be real. But then Mikey sent me that video of the night the BK got arrested and the plane circling. And I just did a little bit of digging after he sent that to me, and I found some really interesting things. So I have 2 articles. Not only does it talk about probably there was a plane following them, there's 2 articles that say that, but I actually have video of a Cessna. It's not a Cessna 182, it's a Cessna 208, I think, but there was a Cessna following BK. It's just interesting. Let me pull that up. Oh, let me just pull it up first so I don't dox myself. Hold on. All right, let me pull this up. Okay, so it says Brian Kohlberger's arrest flight records show Pennsylvania police planes circling home for hours after the capture. So check out this video. This one actually has all of the info attached to it. So you can see up here, it says Cessna 208. So it's a 2019 Cessna 208 Caravan, Pennsylvania, from the state police. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know what like all these airplane stuff means, but obviously if you're a pilot, this makes sense to you, and they're bringing the receipts there. And I think it is interesting too, because I'm wondering why do they use an airplane to spy on someone? Like, why wouldn't they use a drone? Can somebody answer that for me? Like, it just seems like it'd be a cheaper option and a more efficient option. I don't know. Nina, you have any thoughts on that? Why they would use a plane instead of a drone?
Maybe a plane was cheaper.
Maybe.
I mean,
Yes, yeah.
because see, I mean, that's another one that, because I mean, I have a screenshot of the statement that the FBI put out that states that they were not. And I know the FBI lies, so I'm not even going to go there. But do we know that they were tracking him?
Well, what Howard Bloom said is that he has a source in the FBI. So he's saying this came straight from the FBI.
Okay.
And let me read this article. It might give clarification. I brought 2 of them up because it's sketchy, because we're not hearing, okay, are we hearing you say that they got when they were going to arrest him and then they put a spy plane out? Or are you saying that a spy plane was following him from Pullman to the Poconos? So let me read you what is said here, and maybe, oh, come on, people. Why? I don't know how to do this. Okay. Oh, I know it's wrong. There we go. So this article goes on to read why, what happened. I don't know what's going on. Here we go. It goes on to read, Moscow, Idaho. Flight records show Pennsylvania police planes circled the Poconos home where authorities apprehended suspect Idaho killer Brian Kohlberger for hours last week. The playback of the air traffic data shows that a plane's path circling BK's parents' home from 2:04 a.m. to 6:22 a.m. on the 30th. The single-engine 2019 Truxton Aviation 208B kept eyes on the sky long after state police, tactical team, and FBI raided Kohlberger's home in Olive Branch, Pennsylvania. The family lives in a gated community where Police say the DNA evidence was collected from the trash outside the house and turned up a match linking the suspect profile to Kohlberger's father. The family, according to the arrest affidavit made public Thursday, people found a K-bar knife sheath on the Police found a K-bar knife sheath on the bed next to one of the victims at the crime scene on King Road. They recovered DNA off of the metal snap. Pennsylvania State Police Major Christopher Paris said during a news conference last week that force was used to gain access to Kohlberger's home during the early morning raid. There were multiple windows that were broken, I believe, to gain access, as well as multiple doors, Paris said, adding that Kohlberger's parents were at the home at the time. Paris said preparations for the search warrant's execution began on the evening of December 29th and added that around 50 tactical assets were on scene. Court records show that it is the same day Idaho Judge Megan Marshall signed off on an arrest warrant accusing Kohlberger of 4 counts of first-degree murder and felony burglary charge for allegedly entering the home with the intent to kill. Authorities allege that November 13th, Kohlberger entered a 6-bedroom home on King Road in Moscow, Idaho, and fatally stabbed Madison Mogan, 21, Kaylee Gonzalez, 21, Ethan Chapin, 20, and Xana Cronola, 20. The 3 women lived together, and Chapin, who was dating Cronola, was visiting for the night. 2 other housemates survived the attack, including one who told police she was frozen with fear after seeing the masked man with bushy eyebrows on his way out of the house moments after the murder. Idaho murders. Brian Kohlberger held without bond in student slayings amid chilling new details. The 28-year-old was a student at Washington State University, roughly 10 miles from the University of Idaho, where all 4 victims were undergrads. Kohlberger was studying his PhD in WSU's Department of Criminal Justice and Criminology. After the semester, authorities said he drove the suspect vehicle from Pullman to his family's house in Pennsylvania, with his father along for the ride. Kohlberger has a master's degree in criminal justice from DeSales University. As part of a project there, he had sought ex-cons on Reddit in a Reddit forum, asking if any wanted to take part in the study on how emotional, psychological traits influence decision-making when committing a crime. During Kohlberger's initial appearance in Idaho court Thursday, the judge ordered him to be held without bail on 5 charges, 4 counts of first-degree murder, and 1 felony burglary for allegedly entering the house with the intent to kill. He is due, blah, blah, blah. All right, so that was one, and I have another one. Oh, I guess I didn't save the other one. But anyway, I mean, you guys get the gist. What I'm trying to do is just not go out there and use other people's information that doesn't have like some solid receipts to back it up. And I do feel that the reporting on the plane, number one, I'm going to stop making fun of it. Number 2, if we're trying to debunk that the FBI was following BK from Pullman, I don't think that debunking the plane is going to debunk this issue, because clearly there was a Cessna involved. So, any thoughts, Nina, on the airplane that I didn't cover?
Well, I did see where AR and Jeff put in there that drones have limitations as far as how far they can go.
I didn't know that. And thank you for following up. And AR, I didn't know you're here. Good morning. Thank you for being here. I haven't been looking at the chat. And then, hold on. They still use helicopters from LAPD and LASD for things that helicopters are better for. For example, setting up containment pursuits, felony traffic stops, canvassing wide areas, and Reddit cop forum. I wonder, and how far can a helicopter go? Can you take a cross-country trip in a helicopter? I mean, I don't think you could take one at the speed of a car, but I mean, and I mean, if you think about it, like even an airplane, if it's tailing a car, wouldn't that like that'd be a lot of more? I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Maybe somebody understands. How? Hold on. Feds use planes. Local cops use helicopters. Okay, thank you for clarifying. Watch Pavarotti. He has got plenty of receipts. I haven't watched Pavarotti in quite a while. I don't watch anybody unless I'm looking for something specific or I'm recommended. There are a few live streams that really entertain me, but I'm not going to play favorites and mention them right now. What appears to be the fifth pass of the White Elantra, in my opinion, passed the Linda Lane camera at 4:07:28, moving faster than the first pass makes me suspicious of said vehicle. Oh, I thought you were going to say something about the timeline, because Nina and I, of course, were just talking about how she's saying if Xana was first, that means the unalivings wouldn't have started until after 4:12, which if the 4:07 was the suspect, that would make sense. 4:08, that's only 4 minutes time difference from getting to the car to getting into the house. So actually that would bode into, if that's the right word, into Nina's theory. And then Nina says she's watched every video of his. I'm sorry, but there are some topics I don't want on my TV if somebody walks into the room. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, Jeff's got to go, but he said there's a link to original Fox News video showing the fire hydrant jacket we were looking at a few days ago. That was such an interesting and that was such a popular topic when we were talking about it. Thank you, Jeff. And if you could email it to me when you have a chance, I know you're busy. If you forget, I'll remind you. But if you could email that to me, that'd be great. I have trouble following links from the live chat. Actually, I wonder if I can just copy. I can't copy and paste them either. That's the problem. But anyway, I'm going to move on to our next segment. And I'm just going to get the Howard Bloom stuff out of the way. And then I'll just tell you the different segments we have so you guys know what to expect. So we're going to move to another segment about Howard Bloom's book. It's about the pool party, and I want to bring some receipts to that. And then we're going to move to a segment on profiling. And I have 3 things to bring to the table regarding profiling, including 2 sound bites. And then we're going to talk about the search warrant, because one of my subscribers, Brian, keeps talking about page 15 on the search warrant and how they feel that they feel is so confusing. I'll bring up their points, but we're going to talk a little bit about what Frank's motion is, or Frank's hearing, and bring up this question that my subscriber had. And I think, yeah, so that's going to be it. But these are going to be kind of long segments. So let me go ahead and bring up the pool party video. And again, this video is members only. I have to give a disclaimer before you watch this video. I am not on the open road. It was like 90 degrees. It was during that heat wave I made this video. I just finished the Bloom book, and I'm in my car with the AC on and my dogs, and I'm driving around the driveway in a private street. So please don't. A lot of people were like hitting the dislike button when they. I just don't want anything to happen to this live stream. So, but I bring up everything in this video, so we're going to listen to it. I tried to put it like it was a pool party video, so I made it at the pool, but the sound wasn't working out. So I get into my car afterwards. Hold on. Hi, welcome back. Okay, so I want to discuss a little bit more in depth the pool party that Howard Bloom brought up in his new book, When the Night Comes Falling. And I think I'm going to relocate because the wind is like really starting to blow, and I'm sure it's going to mess with the microphone. Let's replan this scene. Okay, so let's try this again. So I just want to talk about the pool party at the Grove that Howard Bloom goes into in his latest book. Now, this is a true crime show, so it is viewer discretion advised. And these are my own speculations and opinions, so make sure to do your own research and inform yourself for your own opinions. So when BK first came to Wasu, his father approached okay, so when BK first came to Wasu, his father approached a neighbor who we'll call Martinez. And Martinez is a researcher, but he moonlights as a yoga instructor and as a DJ. And one of his upcoming gigs, he was asked to spread the word and tell his friends about the party. So he thought, well, this is a good opportunity. I don't have to befriend this guy, which his wife thought, whom his wife thought was kind of creepy, and I'll be able to so Martinez goes and invites him to this pool party, and Howard Bloom describes BK as this like curly haired, blonde, good looking, athletically built guy with some fresh tummy tuck, and so he had some new clothes for the party, and he was pretty chill, although he did look a little bit lost. So from the accounts of people there, Brian got the numbers of two different women. One was a girl in a black thong bikini that had a thigh tattoo, and the other one was a girl with pink hair. Apparently, he did not call either of these girls, but both of these girls received hang-ups. So it appears that this account comes from Martinez, but in order to know that, I feel like the author had to have probably tracked down these women. One of the interesting references here is that there is an account that Brian did not want to be a cop. He wanted to be a scientist. His goal was to follow in the steps of Professor Ramsland from DeSales University. He wanted to continue her work, which she started on the psychological profiling of BTK. Okay, just a couple more things that they said. So I find significance in this pool party because it took place at the Grove, and so it could be a potential place where he met Maddie or Kaylee or any of the folks at the 1122 King Road home. So the pool party is an interesting part of this story. It could be something, it could be nothing. It could be the connection where BK met some of these people or all of these people, although all footage has been reviewed so far and they haven't been captured on any sort of recordings. The author of the book, Howard Bloom, seemed to think that this could imply something else, though, is Howard Bloom appears to still be looking for connections between Demetrius and Emily, and he thinks that maybe BK could have met Emily there and it could have been a D connection. That's all speculation. I don't personally believe that, but I wanted to pass on to you how the context of that pool party was presented to us. So thank you so much for watching. Please let me know your opinions down below in the comments section, and I hope you have a great day. All right, so that is the entire story as it came in the book about the pool party. And again, I thought I guess I foolishly thought that this came from the leaked text messages that I still haven't gotten confirmation on. I have reached out to sources, but they haven't gotten back to me if they're real or not. I know somebody who allegedly knows Christy and Steve, but I haven't been able to get confirmation. Anyway, I thought that's where the pool party came from, but it's not. There's actual accounts of the pool party. I'm just looking at my phone. We still have that. We still have a conclusion or some receipts for that PCA. Oh, this is my camera blocker. They're apparently, what am I looking at? In that it talks about how the PCA is Exhibit A, and I think it's what you sent me originally, Nina, that you were saying you sent me like months ago in Discord. Heather dragged it up for us, so I'll bring that up afterwards. Have you read Howard Bloom's book, Nina?
Dang mute button. No.
You haven't? Okay. Well,
No, I probably will not read it.
I mean, until we know if it's correct or not, why not?
I have enough rabbit holes.
I know, right? All right, so we're going to start with this one. There's two separate articles. Let me make sure I have to read my notes if I'm supposed to read you the whole article or not. Let me read this. Yeah, both articles are relevant. So I'm going to read to you from both of these. So this one, Brian Kohlberger exhibited bizarre. Wait, can you see that? I can't see StreamYard. Can you see the article, Nina? Yeah. Okay. Brian Kohlberger exhibited bizarre behavior with two bikini-clad college co-eds at a pool party, says WSU student. Brian Kohlberger asked young women. Excuse me, let me start over. Brian Kohlberger asked a young woman for her phone number and then turned to her friend and asked the same question. A Washington State University student shared details of this encounter with Brian Kohlberger in a new interview. This person, we'll call BS, tells Airmail, a digital media outlet, that in the summer of 2022, he met Kohlberger at a pool party being held at the Grove. Oh gosh, stupid commercials. At the Grove in Moscow, off campus. I can't believe I'm talking like this. I'm sorry, you guys, I'll get it together. An off-campus apartment complex popular with students at the University of Idaho. Kohlberger had been invited to the party by his neighbor at the WSU dorms, Christian Martinez. And I'm bringing up Christian's name because Christian is not only quoted in this article, but the next article and in Howard Bloom's book. But we'll keep BS anonymous. Along with the fact that he invited Brian after being approached by his father, Michael Kohlberger, on the day he moved with his son to WSU, moved his son into his WSU dorm. I met his dad in the parking lot. He just stopped me and started talking to me, Martinez told Law and Crime. His dad was wanting to introduce me to Brian, and he said something. I don't remember the exact word he used to describe him, but it was something like he has a hard time making friends, or he's kind of shy. Once at the party, Kohlberger met BS and a friend of Martinez. We were just shooting the shit, but he was definitely one serious dude. Nice enough, though. When BS got up to talk to a friend, Kohlberger made his way to the DJ booth, where he also made an impression. He was asking me about the speakers, all kinds of technical stuff, ZC tells Airmail. But he had his way about him. You know those people who don't understand personal space? He was one of them. He'd get real close. It was off-putting. He went on to eventually say that he had dismissed Kohlberger, telling him, I'm DJing, man. I'll catch you later. So then BS soon joined Kohlberger by the pool. But the now suspected murderer did not stay for long, according to his new acquaintance. BS watched as Kohlberger abruptly jumped up without warning and approached a girl in a black fawn bikini with pink hair and a complex tattoo designed on her left thigh. When Kohlberger offered only a brief conversation, asked her for her number, and he got it, reports Airmail. Kohlberger allegedly did not stop there. There's so many misspellings in this. It's not my fault. Next, moving on to the woman's friend. Next, as if a man on a mission, he turned to the pink-haired woman's friend, also in a black two-piece, and asked her for her number too. And he succeeded once again, according to airmail. Kohlberger then left the party, according to BS. The two women later told airmail that they never heard from Kohlberger, but both did say they received several hang-up calls in the aftermath of the party. 4 months later, the University of Idaho students would be found dead in their off-campus home just a mile down the road from the Grove. 3 victims, Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xander Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, lived in the blah, blah, blah. Then it just gives, I'm sorry, let me finish that sentence. Lived in the home. The 4th victim, 20-year-old Ethan Chapin, was in a relationship with Kernodle. Kohlberger is now charged with those 4 murders and headed to trial later this year. If convicted, he could be sentenced to death. All right. So it's not just the people's names that went on the record, it's the news outlets that talked to them. So this story appears to have been gone from the news, which is what Howard Bloom said he got a lot of his things in the book from, was headlines. So it appears that all information he shared in this book is public knowledge. There's another article that touches base on Martinez as well, because we had heard that his wife thought that Brian was creepy, but it wasn't stated in that article. And I'm wondering where he said it. And that kind of I just want to make sure I'm bringing receipts to everything I said in that video. So let me bring this one up. And I will say there is a quote. I'm not going to bring it up in this live stream, but there is a quote where Brian's talking to another TA, I think, or it was a male student. And I mean, just going back to the whole incel thing that we talk about, Nina, he basically claimed to the student, he's like, yeah, I can have any of these girls I want.
As far as incel, 100% not incel.
I agree. I agree. I mean, we just listened to that podcast with Cassie, and right. I mean, to think that he wouldn't be appealing to any of those young ladies, I don't know. He seems like a guy who has his stuff together, and not only that, but he practices self-care and works on his appearance. I mean,
I think that he would be totally appealing until he invaded your space.
Yeah, I don't know if I could handle anyone who got that.
I mean, and I think that, I don't think that being introverted was one of his problems. I think the not respecting personal space was the problem. He didn't have boundaries.
That's a good way of putting it. It's the boundaries.
Right. I mean, and I think that was, because like he would get comfortable and start saying stuff, that was just totally unacceptable. And I guess rude, crude, and socially unacceptable.
I'm going to write the word boundaries down. The reason I'm doing that is because after I read this next article, we're going to segue into profiling. And I had mentioned that I was going to bring up some sound bites when we talk about profiling. But what I'll do is I'll lead with an article that let me just write boundaries down so I segue correctly. I'm going to read you an article that Jeremiah, I think he's in the live. No, actually, he's not in the live chat today, but that Jeremiah sent me, another one of my mods. And it's just a really interesting article. It talks about Bree, one of Brian's friends back in Pennsylvania, and it shows some pictures of them kind of being silly and goofing around together. And she's like, look, he was shy, but he talked. I can't remember how she put it. I don't want to misquote the article, but she says, yes, he wasn't shy in terms of talking to everybody, but shy wasn't the word. She said he wasn't outgoing, but he was we'll wait to the article, but we'll segue in now that you said that. It's the boundaries, and I think we'll elaborate when we get to the profiling. We're going to hear a little bit more about that. Let me bring up this one article. It's called Socially Awkward and Standoffish. So if you've never been to my channel, I try very hard to take like the position of an independent journalist. So if I show one side of the story, I do my best to show the other side, or at least give the counter argument. So this is another account from Martinez, I believe. They don't name the people by name, but they say they lived in the floor below them. So hold on, let me just. Okay, let me read this to you. And this article comes from Meow, or Mew, MEAWW. Meow. Socially awkward and standoffish. Brian Kohlberger's neighbors remember having him over for a pool party. Okay. Pullman, Washington. Brian Kohlberger's neighbors have recounted their interactions with the quadruple murder suspect when he was a criminology student at Washington State University. He was apparently invited to a pool party in a neighborhood last year where his demeanor was described as socially awkward and standoffish with a dead stare. Now, isn't that funny, Nina? It's like exact opposite of what we just read. How two people can have like this, see the exact same thing and have a totally different impression of what they're seeing. Interesting. Anyway, I digress.
But see, I wonder too if sometimes that dead, the stare and the, because I know that from the research I've done, he liked to be above people. He wanted to be the smartest. He wanted to be the buffest. He wanted to be the toughest. And, so I think that he had a lot of masks that he tried to wear, according to who he was with at the time, and, maybe he was trying to be condescending to somebody or trying to be, like big and tough, like that doesn't affect me or whatever, at that time. And so I think there's a lot of aspects of Kohlberger that are a whole lot different. That's a whole lot deeper than, well, any of us know, because who really knows him? There's not been a whole lot of reporting on him, as far as, it's people that went to high school with him and stuff like that. But I think what happened was when he lost all of his weight and got everything, going on for him, he saw himself as like Adonis or whatever, and, was like, hey, it's all about me. And it went too far sometimes.
I think when you opened with your statement and you said, I think he wears many masks, the first thing that came to me was thinking of somebody who maybe has, two things came to me. So don't strike me down right when I say this, but from a profiling standpoint, we hear about people wearing many masks sometimes, or people who, and again, I'm not saying this is Brian, but we've heard those can be sociopaths who don't quite know how, they can't read necessarily all of other people's responses, and they might not know how to act. So they will copy or take on other personalities. But then as you kept talking, it occurred to me, hold on a second, he's not necessarily putting on different hats because he's trying to copy behavior. He has so many different roles that he's playing.
Exactly. That's
TA.
And I think whatever role he was in is who he played at that time.
Exactly. So, if I think about it, if I were in that position, so number one, you're a TA. So you have to control the energy and the power dynamic in that class. You have to respond a certain way. And it doesn't mean you don't have integrity if you're a little bit more professional in a certain setting. And then he is the role of being a neighbor and not a student, and trying to fit in with somebody his own age, probably starting a family, marriage, that stage of the thing. So then there's the semi-grown up. And then he's working with people who are just coming out of high school. And although we consider people over the age of 18 adults, we know that, there's a difference in personality from somebody, under the age of 21, and over. So, then he's working with a less mature, a group of people who hasn't been out in the world and isn't as worldly. So there's a whole nother way he has to approach those people. And then going into a party like that has adults and people in the real world, plus people he might be working with or students he might be working with. These are huge dynamics that anybody would kind of struggle with if they were in a social situation. So when you say putting on different hats, even though I don't like that and we should all act the same in every place, like, wow, that is a lot of different hats you'd have to wear at once, and switching gears might look very awkward to people. Anyway, I'll probably stop talking because I'm too much coffee. But I like that statement, Nina. I think that was insightful.
Well, thank you.
Bringing back this article, we left off here. Kohlberger, 28, accused of the stabbing deaths. Wait, can you guys see that? Yeah. Okay. Of Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xander Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. The victims' bodies were found on November 13th at a rental home across the street from the University of Idaho campus. The grisly murder scene shook the rural Idaho community to its roots. I saw him in the hallway. Christian Martinez reportedly lives in the Pullman, Washington apartment complex where Brian Kohlberger lived when he first moved to the area in 2022. Literally, like days after these murders happened, he brought it up. And this isn't the article I thought. I hope this is the right article. He brought it up. And when I saw him in the hallway, Martinez told Long Crime Network, those are the two things he said. We have no leads, and they think that it was a crime of passion, he continued. He just really liked talking to me in the hallway. He would talk about his studies, like forensics and stuff and criminology stuff. And at the time, it just seemed like normal times. Fascinated with death and killing. Martinez said that he remembered the suspect killer moving into the area in the summer of 2022. I met his dad in the parking lot. He just stopped me and started talking to me, Martinez told the outlet. His dad was wanting to introduce me to Brian, and he said something that I don't remember the exact words, but he used he used to describe, I feel like we just read this. I'm just going to move forward. According to Martinez, Kohlberger kept tabs on the University of Idaho murders and often brought them up in conversation in the days leading to his arrest. He was like, oh, did you hear about those murders that happened? And it was like so shortly after they actually happened, there was barely any news articles out. So there wasn't much that I could have said. So I really was like, yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah, of course. I've heard about them, Martinez says. He was like, yeah, it sometimes seems like they don't have any leads. And then he's like, yeah, it seems like it was a crime of passion. In the light of the conversations with Kohlberger, Martinez concluded that he probably had a fascination with death or killings. It was the kind of subject of what I would take someone's life. It was kind of like he was trying to see my perspective on, I guess, taking someone's life, I guess. Socially awkward. At some point, Martinez invited Kohlberger to a pool party where he met the accused killer for the first time. I did notice him, and I noticed he was kind of standing. This is from ZC. So another person at the pool party. I think this is the DJ, actually. He was kind of standing off the entire time. He wasn't very social, and I thought he was kind of weird because it was a pool and people were interacting. He was just kind of standoffish. He did seem kind of just socially awkward and kind of hard to carry a conversation with, if I remember correctly. But besides that, he mainly kept to the side and was really observant. So much, though, that based on that one small interaction, he knew exactly who I was maybe a month or so later when I saw him on that hike. So Cartwright noted how he had crossed paths again and that it was strange how quickly Kohlberger recognized him. I felt it was really weird how he approached me and the people that I was with because he acted kind of like we were best friends. It was like a reunion or something. He was really excited to see us, and I had no idea really who he was right that second. It feels like a pile-on. Doesn't it kind of feel like a pile-on? Sorry. Although Cartwright spoke to Kohlberger only twice, those interactions proved important enough for him to be interviewed by the FBI following the suspect's arrest. I did speak to the FBI at one point. I do believe that they spoke with a lot of people that were at the party, and maybe because that was one of the very first times, if not his first time in Moscow, Cartwright told the outlet. Meanwhile, Martinez and his wife were also interviewed by the FBI and recalled how his wife felt. Okay, this is what I was getting at, you guys. I'm so glad it's in here. The FBI recalled how his wife always felt something was off with Kohlberger. She didn't have a good feeling about him because every time I would like to tell her I'm going to invite Brian because he didn't have any friends and I was trying to bring him out and maybe meet people. But she was always like, no, please don't, she said. I mean, this isn't the article, but at least I'm validating, you know, the part of it where I say in that video that Martinez's wife felt awkward and got the creeps from him. So, but what I was really trying to show you, the article that I thought I was bringing up was the downstairs neighbors who talk about, and this will segue, like I said before, we'll use the word boundaries to segue into the next segment. But she accounts that there was something going on at night up in the apartment. So she wasn't saying that it was like a loud TV. She could hear activity up there. And it sounded to her like Brian was cleaning late at night. And so I just thought I'd bring that up because in the profiling that we're going to go into in the next segment, we're also going to talk a little bit about nighttime activities because there is some documentation that you may not have seen yet of Brian actually doing these nighttime activities, which doesn't make his alibi, which makes his alibi slightly more believable when you hear that it's a habit that he's had. So with that, let's segue in using boundaries. And oh, here it is, the profiling segment. Bear with me, you guys. Nina, so glad you're here. Thank you for
Oh, I'm always honored to be called on panel.
all right. So well,
one of the things too is I don't know if you've seen some of the I'm sure you have, but like some of the people that he followed on Facebook and stuff like that. There's a creator that actually got to his Facebook page before it got taken down. And he actually brings to light, you know, a lot of the stuff that he followed. And it's pretty interesting, you know, because it's like, it's stuff that you would never expect by thinking of his personality type, you know? And
right.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say like what? No, I'm interested.
No, I mean like there's a video on there that is a guy that is just beating a guy to death. I mean, you know, and I mean, of course it's actors. Okay. I mean, it's not a real, you know, but like, you know, that was one of his, you know, favorited videos and stuff like that. And then he some of the companies that he followed are like goon tape and knives and masks and stuff like that, you know. And I mean, I was like, he was one of the first creators that I started watching when I came here. And I mean, I sit there and I mean, he's probably the reason that I deep dive like I do because he is so good at it. And I mean, it's true crime time. And I'm not going to mind saying that because if anybody wants a good creator, and I mean, I know that you would totally respect him because he's not biased. He's not, you know, anything like that. He just puts facts out there and he's a deep dive kind of guy.
All right. So I don't know specifically what you're talking about, but if you're talking about what I think you're talking about, and I'm certainly not contradicting you, I don't know exactly what you're talking about. But if it's what I think it is, this is something that we a lot of people, if I'm not mistaken, it may have been debunked. And I
Oh,
will
okay.
and the reason I will tell you this is because you guys all know War Bear. Well, when Nina talks about somebody getting beat and it being actors, there is a violent satire genre on other social media sites, and War Bear is one of their most popular stars. And basically, what this creator had done, and Bubbly Waters did a whole debunking on this. And again, I don't know if this is what Nina's saying, but it sounds a lot like it. What he did was he posted that War Bear video, which of course he is very popular. So the video got like 15,000 views or something like that, or he got like, I'm trying to remember back. These numbers might not be right, but he got like 15,000 followers. And then what he did was the second they heard Brian Kohlberger's name, he made the post private. And while he was doing that, he made the post private after it got up to like 15,000. And then he started liking different things that had to do with the Idaho 4. And then when they found Brian Kohlberger's name, he made it public with Brian's name. And so, but what threw me off is when you said Goon Tape, because I know Goon Tape was involved in the prank. And the person who had inside knowledge of it, I can't play the debunking video because it is that filthy. Like, I mean, it's just things I cannot play on my channel. He is, it's a satire creator and he's a shock creator. But I mean, a lot of the things he says in the interview, the Bubbly posts are really sexual, and I'm just not going to put them on the channel. But anyway, if it's the same one, go to Bubbly's channel and you'll recognize the guys because they wear neon masks. And those will be the ones when you're looking at the thumbnail. And Nina, does this sound a little bit like it's a guy robbing at a gas station and he gets beat?
The little clip is the guy's in front of a car and he's got I don't know if it's a crowbar, but it's a bar, and he's like literally beating the guy with the bar. You can't see it because you see the hood of the car, but you see the guy standing up with the and then he's at the end of it. He's standing there with blood dripping all down him, and the police are coming after him. And he puts on this smirky smile.
I just don't understand. This is what people are creating for entertainment for our young men in America. Yeah, thank you, TikTok. It's just so this is what they're investing their money in. It's just so annoying. But yeah, thank you, TikTok. Yeah, a few people are saying it's debunked, but again, before we say it's debunked, we want to make sure it's the same account. Let's continue that conversation, Nina, because I think it's important. And it also shows the way that trolls come out with stories.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The process, you're like, wait a second, when was that counter created? What can I use? Because when you started talking about this, I'm not bringing it up in this segment, but I have been, and I think it was Heather brought them to my attention. It might not have been, but there are some social media sites when they say they have no connection to Brian. I think it's some of the wording, because there is allegedly a social media site that was very old of Brian's that was linked to the girls. And the reason they were able to link it allegedly, and again, this could have been debunked too, I'm just speaking off the cuff now, but one of the stories I'm working on has to do with this. And apparently one of the reasons they know that this was Brian's old account is because when he got the tummy tuck, oh gosh, maybe I read this in Bloom's book. When he got the tummy tuck, he was following plastic surgeons. And so the people that he got the surgery from and the people he was commenting on were all around that time where he got the plastic surgery on his stomach after the weight loss. So anyway, doesn't prove anything, but that is a segment I'm working on. And I thought that's what you were actually bringing up when you started talking. So there's so much to discuss when it comes to social media.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many rabbit holes. I mean, so many.
That's the truth. All right, I was pulling up this article on, okay, going back to profiling. Yeah, here we go. Never seen before photos. Let me pull this back up. I put on all my makeup and I forgot to put on lipstick. I'm so pissed. I just saw myself in the screen. So these are called never seen before photos about the man accused of the Idaho Forum college students. And I'm going to skip, my notes say to skip down to after the dialogue, which is right here. Right here. Kohlberger had been at the University of, oh wait, can you guys see that? Yeah. Kohlberger had been at the university since August, studying to get his PhD in criminology. He was also a teaching assistant in the Department of Criminal Justice. He lived in an apartment complex on campus and had an office there. According to the newly released affidavit, Kohlberger had applied for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall. He wrote his application essay that he had interest in assisting rural law enforcement agencies with how to better collect and analyze technological data. Benjamin Roberts took 4 classes with Kohlberger. Benjamin Roberts, he says, he seemed very comfortable around other people. He was very quick to offer his opinions and thoughts, and he always participated fairly eagerly in classroom discussion. So I pause there because we get so many different conflicting accounts of this man. So in this one, it says he seems very comfortable around other people and very quick to offer his opinions and thoughts. I mean, it doesn't take away the spatial, spatial boundaries, but yeah. He said Kohlberger appeared highly intelligent. Peter Van Sant says, anything else come to mind with Brian that Brian Kohlberger said to you in the past that today you might think of to be interesting? And Benjamin Roberts says, there was a comment that he made, and it was kind of a flippant guy talk thing at one point. He just said, idly mentioned, I can go down to the bar or at a club and pretty much have any lady I want. So Nina, before I read on, if a guy says something like that, it's usually probably tested and true. I don't think it's like a confidence building statement. Like, would a guy say that if he was an incel? I don't know.
Oh no, I mean, I haven't seen incel in him at all. I mean, not one thing of him says incel to me.
Particularly when you one thing 100%, and then when we talk about the party from several different witnesses, he did get 2 girls' numbers. And you talk about that what's the name of that guy you guys always talk about with the incels? Elliot Rogers.
Yeah, Elliot Rogers.
Would Elliot Rogers,
sorry, it doesn't have an S.
Roger, okay. Would Elliot Roger be able to go to a pool party and get 2 girls' numbers?
No, because the thing about it is an incel that is inside them, and they do not have wow, we are having a thunderstorm like crazy. That just scared me to death.
Wow, Nina, I hope you're not next to a window.
Oh yeah, I'm sitting right next to my window. That's the reason it scared me.
Do you need to get off the live stream?
So anyway, the thing about Elliot Roger is he never not one time reached out to a girl. And that's the thing about an incel is they will not reach out. They expect everybody to just, go to them and come to them and just follow over them.
So
and I think I'm going to go now.
Okay, Nina, God bless you. Please visit Nina's channel. Give her a like and a comment. Let her, that's the free way you can thank her for her commentary today, you guys. And please support her. Nina will be back on the show. We have a lot more to discuss. And just be safe, Nina. If it lets up, come back on.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kiki. I'm always honored to be up here with you.
I'm honored to have you. Thank you for showing up today. I'll talk to you later. Be careful. All right, you guys, I'll finish the reading this, and then I have 2 sound bites, and then we'll get to comments. So back to, he says, Brian's last quote we left off on, he said, I can go down to a bar, a club, and pretty much have any lady I want. Koberger arrived at the university after earning his bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in criminal justice from DeSales University in Center Valley, Pennsylvania. While the DeSales authorities say Brian Koberger posted this survey approved by the university on their website Reddit asking ex-cons about their crimes they committed, one question he asked, before making your move, how did you approach the victim or target? James Gagliano says, this could be a piece of circumstantial evidence. James Gagliano is a retired FBI supervisor, special agent with and a CBS News consultant. James Gagliano, the fact that the suspect was interested in pursuing his PhD in criminal justice was especially interested in the mental state that person who had committed the murders in the past. Yes, it could be an interesting note, but I know a lot of researchers that study those things too, and they would never commit a quadruple homicide. I'm going to pause there just because I've been reading a lot of articles on this, and I want to say something that I have heard from the experts, which I just want to add to the conversation, which is people who study forensic psychology. You can't say that that's going to cause somebody to be a better criminal. And it's not going to cause somebody to lead to violent behavior. And the analogy that you can use for that is, okay, if somebody studies accounting, does that lead to accounting fraud? It's not that. It's the area of interest of study. And there are so many, well, anyway, I just want to bring that up. I have a lot to say on it because it's been a subject I've been researching lately, but I want to add that to the conversation. And it doesn't sound like the FBI profiler is saying that, but he kind of alluded a little bit to it in that statement. And if Koberger was involved in these murders, that wasn't where I left off. Yeah, okay. And if Koberger was involved in these murders, genetic genealogist C.C. Moore questions why he would be so careless as to allegedly leave his DNA at the crime scene. C.C. Moore, people are talking about how smart he supposedly is, and I just can't see how this could be true. Because any student of forensic science criminology would have to know that it's virtually impossible to not leave your DNA behind a very violent and intimate crime scene like this. C.C. Moore. You know, Ted Bundy thought he was smart, but he wasn't that smart, as it turns out. After the murders, Robert says Koberger appeared disheveled, tired, and chattier than usual. But nothing could prepare Roberts for what he learned when he learned of Koberger's arrest, Benjamin Roberts. Looking back over the last 4 months, I feel like there should have been signs that I should have seen, and I didn't. I was blindsided. Jason LaBar, who was was BK's attorney back in his appointed attorney back in PA. This is out of character for Brian, these allegations. Monroe County Public Defender Jason LaBar presented Koberger before he was extradited to Ohio. The family would want the general public to know that Brian, excuse me, that Brian is a caring son and brother, that he's responsible, and that he's devoted to them. In a statement, the family said, "We care deeply for we care deeply for the four." This is so difficult to read. It's just written. We care deeply for the four families who have lost their precious children. I just think it's a typo, and that they seek the truth and to promote the presumption of innocence rather than judge unknown facts and make erroneous assumptions. LaBar says he is innocent until proven otherwise. LaBar says Koberger came from a close-knit family. He grew up in eastern Pennsylvania in the Pocono Mountains. His father was a maintenance worker and his mom worked in the high school system. Brian has 2 older sisters. One of them works as a family therapist. The other sister, who appeared in the 2011 low-budget slasher film 2 Days Back, about a group of young students viciously murdered by a serial killer. She now works as a school counselor, Bree. And Bree is a friend of Brian's. And this is where we get into the pictures I was telling you about. Bree, my heart goes out to Brian's family. Now here's a picture of Brian. that Bree provided. And it says, Brian Kohlberger's friend Bree says she met Brian at a party when they attended Pleasant Valley High School. She asked 48 hours not to share her last name. Bree. Brian was really funny. He wasn't outgoing at all, but he wasn't shy. And hearing that from somebody who wasn't forced into a social situation. This is somebody who organically became friends with Brian and I'll just read that quote again, because it kind of explains why maybe we're seeing two different people. Like Nina said, two hats on this person. Some people are saying he was shy. Some people are saying he was outgoing, or, so. Again, she says, Brian was really funny. He wasn't outgoing at all, but he also wasn't shy. And this is an interesting picture because you can see them joking around. And, they're obviously in a pub, in a public place. And it's just interesting to see that side of this person that we see such darkness, in every time we read about them. She says they bonded over their love of the outdoors. Bree says, I don't necessarily remember the conversations, but you definitely remember how someone makes you feel. I just remember feeling okay. I was just with a friend. I just felt natural. Bree recalls Kohlberger was an average student with only a few close friends. In a yearbook photo, Kohlberger's caption said that he was aspiring to be an Army Ranger. Casey Artens also knew Kohlberger from high school. She posted this TikTok following Brian's arrest. I used to be friends with Brian Kohlberger. I am actually a little bit shocked right now. He was an overweight kid, so he did get bullied a lot. She said she saw a change in people saw a change in Kohlberger at the beginning of his senior year. He lost like 100 pounds. He was a rail. It was after that weight loss that a lot of people noticed a huge switch in him. My brother has since come out to say that even though they were friends, Brian bullied him. He said that he would put him in a chokeholds and stuff like that. Bree says Kohlberger started using heroin, which ended their friendship. You just saw him becoming more self-destructive. He really stayed secluded. It is unclear when exactly Kohlberger went into recovery, but both Bree and Casey say years after he graduated high school, it appeared as if he was getting his life together. He was going to Northampton Community College and working security for Pleasant Valley School District. He was telling me that he wanted to get sober, and he was getting sober, and he wanted to let me know, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better. And then it says, I'm sorry. And then in parentheses, it says emotional. So obviously she broke down crying, talking about it. The last time I saw Brian was in 2017 at one of my friend's weddings. And I gave him a hug and I said, you look so good. I'm so proud of you. And both Bree and Casey said it appeared that Kohlberger had a new focus, his studies in criminology. He wanted to do something that impacted people in a good way. People were not his strong suit. And think through his criminology studies that he was really trying to understand humans and try to understand himself. Now Bree, like many others who knew him, struggled to connect the person they once knew with this unspeakable crime. I think a lot of people who were close to him are feeling this massive amount of guilt. Why didn't I see it? Did I miss something? Where did it go wrong? And I'm going to stop there because there's a couple other things I want to get to in this segment. But I'm going to just go to the comments section really quick because I've been ignoring. Oh. Daniel says, she also organically stopped being friends with him and that only certain folks understood him, but most didn't. Oh, you've interviewed Bree. Good person. All right. Well, then I don't know, Christy, you could please drop a link to Daniel's channel, and that'd be a really interesting interview. I'm going to go back and watch that afterwards. All right, let me bring up the next thing I have in profiling. It's so quiet without Nina here. So the next clip I'm going to show you, I first saw on FBI Coffindoffer's channel, but then I found it on YouTube.
Our coverage continues now of the arrest and the murders of 4 Idaho college students. Correspondent Evan Lambert has been looking into the background of the suspect. This
I'm mistaken. This came from Mikey, I think. Oh no, this is from me.
man, 28-year-old Brian Christopher Koberger. Evan joins us live from Washington, D.C. with these new details. So, Evan, what all have you been able to uncover?
Well, Nicole, we're starting to get a better picture of Brian Koberger through online and other records, but also from someone who says that he knew Koberger, our affiliate in Pennsylvania, speaking with a man who says that some years ago he ran with Koberger on a regular basis. Listen to his reaction to the news that Koberger was arrested and charged for these murders in Moscow, Idaho.
I used to go on night runs with him because I didn't want to go running at night by myself. So I would text him like, hey, you want to go for a run? We go for 6-7 mile runs at night. So when I saw who it was, I was just in complete shock. I'm still kind of shaking knowing about that. It's just unreal to think somebody could actually do that to somebody. It's absolutely mind boggling. My adrenaline's still kind of running after finding that information out. So just, I feel for the families, and I'm just happy justice can be served now. So.
The only reason I'm bringing this up is we're just talking about profiling, and we know that the alibi obviously was that he was stargazing. He also talked about in the alibi how this late night activity was a habit of his. And I just feel like this kind of corroborates, even though this person's not necessarily coming to his defense, it does corroborate the fact that this is part of his habits. He does these nighttime activities, and which brings up another thing, which is a clip from Mikey that I wanted to bring up. This next soundbite. And so this news clip, they were trying to find connections between sorry, I'm looking for the timestamp, 2:36. Oh, I thought I was sharing my screen, sorry. They were trying to find connections between possibly BK and other unsolved crimes, but they didn't. But when they were pulling up his records, they found this super interesting clip, which I think helps with BK's alibi. So I'm starting this here and I'm just playing it till the end. It's just a 2-minute clip because they talk about how they cleared his name for other cases.
Lehigh County is home
And this was given to me by Mikey.
to DeSales University, which Koberger attended after Northampton Community College. He spent 4 years here studying criminal justice.
Brian Koberger.
Earning a master's degree last summer. What does law enforcement do given that he did spend time here?
Well, we have a resource here called the Regional Intelligence and Investigation Center. It's the first thing I did was I asked the director of the RIC, as we call it, to see if we had any contact with Mr. Koberger.
A data search of more than 6 million police incident reports in Pennsylvania turned up only one record with Koberger's name. He called police from this bike trail one night, to report that his car was locked behind a park gate.
There was a response from him thanking the police and apologizing for the inconvenience.
The district attorney in Monroe County, Pennsylvania, where Koberger grew up and where a SWAT team arrested him on December 30th, did not respond to our questions. But in Northampton and Lehigh counties, both district attorneys say their investigations have found no links to Koberger and any unsolved cases.
So we have no unsolved homicides that in any way meet the modus operandi of this event out in Idaho.
There was nothing been brought to my attention. In fact, nothing with respect to Koberger has come about in our investigations of cold cases or unsolved cases to this point.
And that should be some relief to a community that's been stunned and saddened by the murders of 4 college students 2,500 miles away.
It's a little close to home. You just don't expect it.
So prosecutors say the bottom line is there's no evidence that Koberger committed any crimes here in Pennsylvania. In Center Valley, Pennsylvania, Chris Ingalls, King 5 News.
Did you know that a Cessna 182 single engine airplane? I'm sure you guys, if you heard about the Cessna anymore, it'd be too soon. Or if you never heard about it again, it'd be too soon. So let me just see if I had anything else on profiling I wanted to bring up. Yeah, that was all I had. And then I just have one more segment for you guys. I don't know, this kind of goes back to when we were talking about the PCA earlier. We were talking about different things. Well, actually, it doesn't go back to the PCA earlier. This is about the search warrant. And I'm going to bring up a bookmark of what I'm talking about. So I am just giving my opinion. I wish we had a lawyer on the show to actually explain this in more detail. But one of my subscribers, Brian, brought up page 15 in the search warrant as very confusing and contradictory. And he asked me if I thought this could qualify for a Franks hearing. And I told him I don't know. But I thought that when he pointed it out to me, it was interesting enough that I'd bring it to you guys. So I'm going to first just read you what a Franks motion is, and then I'm going to read you what his question is. So it looks like a long article. It's not. It just breaks it down really quickly. So I don't know if I want to read you this whole thing. So I'll just read this first part here. So the Franks hearing is a legal proceeding in a criminal case where you try to traverse a search warrant. Traversing a search warrant means that you are challenging the truth of the information that is used to support it. A Franks motion is a legal document given to the judge that sets forth your request for hearing, and it specifically challenges and the specific challenges that you have. This type of hearing is typically conducted after a search and seizures has taken place. If you are successful at a hearing, then the judge will throw out or suppress all of the evidence or some that was seized under the warrant. And this is the process. The judge grants the police request for a search warrant. The police conduct a search and seize the evidence. You file a Franks motion requesting for a hearing. At the Franks hearing, you can test the validity of the search warrant. If the judge finds the search warrant invalid, they may suppress the evidence. And, oh, I didn't realize my camera was off. So I'm going to bring up this part of the document that Brian had in question. I'm trying really hard, you guys. There it is. Okay, so this is back to the IGG. And I want to read to you something that we put a lot of emphasis on like a year and a half ago, but we don't talk about much anymore. So I'm going to read this to you, the whole thing to you. On December 27th, 2022, law enforcement agents / officers in Pennsylvania recovered trash that originated from the Kohlberger family residence. That trash was sent to the Idaho State Crime Lab for testing. On December 28th, 2022, the Idaho State Lab reported that the DNA profile was obtained from the trash. It was compared to the suspect DNA profile. The lab panel concluded that the source of the trash DNA profile was male. It was not and was not being excluded as the biological father of the source of the suspect profile. At least 99.9998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being biological father of the source of the suspect profile. Now, this is the part that my subscriber says he thinks or he wants to know if this would qualify for Frank's hearing or if this has been discussed before. And I admit this seems like rhetorical and misleading, and I'll bring up another definition to Frank's after this, but this information is being provided to the court pursuant to my duty and obligation to be fully candid with the court. I do not believe this information to be exculpatory for the suspect. However, if the court believes it to be exculpatory, then the court should consider this supplemental disclosure in its evaluation of the existence of the probable cause or lack thereof. What? But I am specifically asking the court not to consider this supplemental disclosure as evidence supportive of the existence of probable cause. The reason for this request is that the DNA test results are held inadmissible if the DNA results are held inadmissible at some point. Such a ruling would not impact the findings of the probable cause of this warrant. So as long as the court is satisfied with the probable cause, regardless of the DNA test as result. And there's a couple of things, like, well, why would you include it if there's a possibility of it being exculpatory? I mean, this first sentence, this first paragraph, if the information is being provided to the court pursuant to my duty and obligation to be fully candid with the court, I do not believe this information is exculpatory for the suspect. However, if the court believes it is exculpatory, then the court should consider this supplemental disclosure in its evaluation of the existence of probable cause or lack thereof. I don't understand that. But I am specifically asking the court to not consider this supplemental disclosure as evidence supporting the existence of probable cause. The reason for this request is that the DNA test results are held if the DNA results are held inadmissible at some point, such a ruling would not impact the finding of probable cause for this warrant, so long as the court is satisfied with probable cause of the DNA result. I mean, I don't know, like, I guess in law enforcement, I don't know if this is the thing, but maybe you just do extra tests so that you believe you have the right guy, and it's irrelevant to if you, I don't know, like, so weird. Let me read the other definitions to a Frank's hearing. This is the definition of a Frank's violation. Hold on, I just want to dox myself. So this one says, a Frank's violation is when a warrant is obtained with an affidavit that contains false information or omits material facts with the intent to make the affidavit misleading. The term comes from the United States Supreme Court, Franks versus Delaware in 1978. The Supreme Court ruled that a warrant obtained with an affidavit which contains information which police know is not true is invalid. I don't know. I just want your thoughts on that, because I'm not here to say I know anything about it, because I obviously don't. But I thought I'd bring it to the internet and see what you guys had to say. Jeff says, could be just an extremely amazing act of God coincidence that dad's DNA 2,500 miles away matches his father of the DNA 25,000 miles. You know, Jeff, that's a really good point. And William says, William Tardy says, I don't feel there was probable cause for them to go across country and get this trash. Well, they don't need probable cause to survey him, though. And the trash was obtained legally because it wasn't on the property. So as far as I know, like if you have a suspect, you can trail them. And they had something to believe he was a suspect. So when we talk about the IgG, they had which is the genetic genealogy tree, the research that we brought up CC Moore earlier, the type of work she does. And they can't use it in court, but it's like a lie detector test. You can use it as a tip. So it's like an anonymous tip. So they did have a reason to follow him with the IgG. This is the actual DNA test, though. But they didn't have probable cause to arrest him, is what I think you meant, maybe. And then Miss Anonymous says, hold on, I thought FBI did the testing, not the Idaho lab. That's been in question too lately. That's a good point. I think that they first sent it to the Idaho lab who couldn't find anything, and then the FBI sent it out to Othram. That's my understanding. I don't know what this means. But anyway, that is going to be my show for today. Those were the different things I wanted to bring up. There's been so many people who participated and sent me some really great stories. And I'm really glad that everybody showed up in the chat. I have an awesome couple of shows planned for you next week. And I have some videos that I'm working on. So just stay tuned. Thank you for your support. And I think today, I just want to say how grateful and humbled I am. I think I'm going to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the day. So I just want to say, I just appreciate you guys watching and thank you. Thank you to the live chat for being so active and giving the energy for me and Nina to get to 3 hours of live stream today. I hope you enjoyed everything, and I'm going to play you an outro. And thank you to Drunk Turkey for showing up in the live chat. It was nice seeing you. And he had a really good show the other night. You guys should check out. Really good live chat too. So with that, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and maybe I'll see you in some live chats this weekend.